All right, welcome back to the all-day Q&A part 2. All right, there we go. I got caught up in the last video, so I'm gonna just pick up where I left off for part 2 of the all-day Q&A with Wildstar. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you all for coming back. Yeah, thank you. All right, so the last question that I was asked and was answering, I'll start over, is laws mandating seatbelt and helmet use. Laws against jaywalking and other such picayune rules seem small in light of issues like 3 strikes in sanctuary cities, but they greatly impact individual liberty, and fines for violations are a cash cow for government. What priority would you give in the repeal of such small laws? I would definitely make sure that all of those small laws, as many as possible that are on the state level, would be repealed. However, if they are done on the city level, it would be up to you to make sure that you are rallying and making sure that your city officials are working to make sure that those laws are repealed also. I would also consider legislation and passing any legislation that would prevent any type of those laws from being enforced whatsoever. When it comes to state law enforcement individuals being given or being told to enforce those type of laws, they would no longer have to. As Governor Wildstar would tell them, you wouldn't have to worry about pulling over people and for not having the right tags on their car. Okay, that's just stupid. However, if you were in a city where they required that, then you may want to bypass that city. Okay? And this is how you would be able to strain that city and express more control, your own control. We, the people, our power on making sure that those laws are not imposed upon us. And what I also could do as governor is I'm in control of the books. So if it gets put up on the budget that these cities are to receive any type of state subsidization, whether it be for education, emergency services, whatever the case may be, healthcare, any type of subsidizing of their city budget, if they were not compliant with sticking to the Constitution, they would be cut off from funding altogether. And trust me, that would get them to be held accountable and get them in line. And trust me, they don't want to cut off their money. They want to continue to have funding and access to as much money as possible. So if you ever threaten to take that money away, then I assure you, you would see a lot of corrections in what they do and what's happening. So any city such as Pomona, they just passed a law where if you're caught walking across the street and on your text, on your cell phone, you can be ticketed. I mean, come on. So you're, again, putting more stress on cops' shoulders to be dictators and enforcers of law that they should not be. We're not children. They shouldn't be have this paternal role over us to be telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing to correct us and keep us in line. I mean, if you want to be dumb enough to cross the street while it's busy and get hit by a car, then you should be paying attention. Get off your phone. Now, in the city of Pomona, if they want to pass a law and to have that law imposed upon people, then as governor, I would say, hey, well, you're not going to receive any money to help make sure that that law is imposed upon the residents of that city. So that's a way of getting them to change that law and repealing it in a sense. Also, if it came to the people of the state to want to get together to repeal these laws, all they would have to do is petition your city officials to want to have that legislation passed on the state level. And again, I would consider and would pass such a thing if it wasn't any infringement upon the constitutional rights of anyone at all. And as long as it's compliant with that, then that's all that matters. So these are ways that we can get rid of all of these small laws. All right, next. What would you do about the Rotten Egg Initiative? All right, so here in the state of California, there's been consideration of, I guess, certain laws to prevent farmers from being able to cage their chickens in a certain way. The Rotten Egg Initiative is a law that's being considered right now that would put chickens in a certain type of cage and would change the size of it in scope. So it's pretty much being looked at as being another inhumane way for our farm animals to be treated. And again, when it comes to us and our products, we're making an agreement with these businesses, with these companies. So when they fail to uphold their agreement to provide us with something of quality, and it sickens us, and we have salmonella outbreaks and this sort of thing happening, then there's someone to blame. They shouldn't be fined. They should be fired. They should be told to leave the state. So having certain groups like the FDA be involved, government groups, the Humane Society, they're state funded, and again create an area for conflict of interest. If they were independent, then they would be held accountable and be held responsible for any of those type of flaws or errors they may end up happening, opposed to it falling on the responsibility of the state. We shouldn't be blamed for those bad people's behavior. Now, if a company wants to take it upon themselves and they're doing their poultry production and are not doing their best to provide us with a quality good, then they should not receive any subsidization by the people of this state. We are funding our farmers and giving them money to provide food for us. So if we cut off the funding for those farmers that do not want to provide us with quality goods and take care of their farm animals to make sure that we're not being poisoned or harmed in any way, shape, or form, then it would change everything altogether if we took away that money. So we could have that be done here in the state. I would not support any type of Rotten Egg Initiative whatsoever. I would not support any regulations at all towards making sure that these farmers have to cage an animal any certain type of a way. I think it should be left to the industry, and if we got government out of that industry altogether, providing us with food, then if they provide us with bad food, now we can again penalize those businesses for doing so. We would fine them, we would kick them out of the state, we would tell them that they can't do business here. But farmers are even now being constrained on the type of products that they can provide. They're being told that they have to farm and grow certain grains using Monsanto seeds. And these are seeds grown and produced by the company that makes Roundup, Monsanto. Look them up, genetically modified organizer creator, okay? And they create seeds, genetically modified seeds that farmers are now forced to grow with. And it's to fight off supposedly insects or any type of irrigation problems. So yeah, we need to repeal that and kick Monsanto out of the state of California, allow growers, farmers, to be able to farm how they choose to, do it organically, do it in the way that you see fit to provide us, we the people, your consumers, your friends, your family, with something of quality that keeps us going. They are providing us with food because we need them. So we should allow them to do so. All right, next question. What would you do to reduce marijuana regulations and defend states' rights against the federal government? Well, Prop 64 definitely would be repealed. There are certain guidelines in there to prevent growers from being able to cultivate marijuana, and certain businesses from being able to sell it just based on licensure alone and permits, etc. So if we got government out of that industry altogether, you would see more products being readily made available, cheaper products being readily made available, and you would also have the business itself create more opportunities. There's farmers right now in Northern California that are shutting down their marijuana farms because they're being told that there's certain provisions that they have to abide by for water usage, and permits and licenses for environmental use. So it's preventing them from being able to farm outdoors, and if they were to move it indoors, they now have to incur costs of increased energy uses and that sort of thing, and as well as find a building or a place indoors where they can grow and receive permission from the state to do so. So if we got government out of the business and out of this industry where they don't belong, then it would allow that business, that industry to flourish, create more opportunities, and build the amount of wealth that we the people here in the state of California are receiving. So if we talk about the economy for the state of California, if we want to have it increase, that would be a great way to get the money circulating once again, and spending, buying. That's what keeps the economy going. Spending, buying. We want more people to be able to do that, not less. So the more we dictate how many people can do that, the less people are able to receive that and be involved in that voluntary exchange. Okay? All right, so when it comes to the federal government being able to come into the state again, the federal government does not have any dictation here in the state of California. And just like with immigration, they would be told to stay in Washington, D.C., where you belong, not in the state of California where you do not have any jurisdiction. We've had marijuana laws for medicinal use for years, and now that we've made it available for recreational use, they again need to respect the choice of the people here in the state, and respect what has benefited the people here. And we've made it law, so says it. And I would be obligated to uphold the state law above all federal law. And as a sworn representative, that is exactly what I would do. Next question. Let's see. What would you do about policing for profit revenue enhancing in California, an asset forfeiture, which is nothing but literally highway robbery? I couldn't agree with you anymore with that. I've had several cars stolen away from me by police simply because I did not have tags on my car. I didn't have the up-to-date tags or whatever the case may be. And it's a matter of money. If I didn't have it at that time, then that should be, my own personal issue that I should be at liberty to choose to be involved with if I want to voluntarily put plates on my car. Because of mandates and regulations, you're being forced to adhere to these practices, and it is a matter of just making money. Each year, the Department of Motor Vehicle reaps hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayers' money forcefully. It shouldn't be, okay? And we need to get back to the basics here. So if it's unconstitutional, then no. We definitely need to make sure there is no enforcement of those type of laws whatsoever. And the ones that are being done to make money definitely should not be receiving our money. So if it's in the city where you're living and you're having to pay that ticket or whatever the case may be, and it is unconstitutional, fight that ticket. You have to fight that ticket, even if you have to do it all the way to the Supreme Court. And if I get elected as governor, I'll be able to appoint those Supreme Court justices, in which case that you would win most likely in Supreme Court of California. That's what you want. In order to repeal those laws, in order to get rid of those laws, in order to abolish those laws and get rid of them. We build our laws around case law, and it has to deal with old situations where it was a matter of law argued in court, and then the law was created because of that argument. So a lot of the laws that we have are arbitrary, they're statutory, they're called statutes, they're called provisional codes. So the PC deck and all of this stuff that officers are given a big book like this to read, to enforce, they're not reading through that. And when they arrest people, they have to look through the PC deck to see what code can they use to impose upon you to get your money. So no, they would not be receiving any more of our state funds, and there would not be any more enforcement of these type of laws that are being used to take away your money. And if these individuals that we hire aren't upholding the Constitution, then they will be fired. So there will be no more towing of your car just because you did not pay any tickets. I actually think the state of California passed that in itself. They no longer do that, and are fining individuals anymore, or arresting individuals that have not paid any parking tickets. So that old law that they saw and the people fought has now been changed, and the new law is more supportive of your freedom and your individual liberty. That's what we want to get back to, and that's what we want to bring back to the state of California. All right, what's next? What's your take on immigration, abortion, healthcare, education, free speech, and military? Oh, geez. Okay. Also, if you're watching the video, this is the all-day Q&A. I'm going to be going on for a few more hours. I'm going to finish my list here, but if you have any questions, keep them coming, and I'll answer those at the end of this list here. But please, if you have any questions and I missed them, just repeat it back for me one more time at the end, and I will answer that for you, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, all of you. All right, let me answer that. So each one, I'll give a little bit of. My take on immigration, I already answered that. We're going to uphold the Constitution. My take on abortion, I am pro-choice. You should have the right to choose what you want to do with your body, whatever it is, whether it be abortion, whether it be smoking marijuana, whether it be drinking alcohol. Now in Texas, they're trying to pass laws that prevent people from masturbating. It's just so stupid. And people will simply say, well, it's the law, get out of here, man. And we shouldn't have people that we hire to do the job saying they're just doing their job. It's a stupid law. They shouldn't have to be doing that. That shouldn't be part of their job, enforcing stupid laws. Let our law enforcement individuals be able to go out there and help those in need, okay? So when it comes to abortion, I definitely feel like, again, government should get out of where it doesn't belong and allow people to choose for themselves. So there would not be any government involvement in any woman's choice of what you want to do with your body. All right? Healthcare. Government should not be involved in healthcare. I know a lot of people feel like healthcare is a right. Sure, it is. Healthcare services is a whole nother story. You're not going to force a doctor to do surgery on you, all right? Doctors actually take a Hippocratic oath, look it up, to say, I'm going to help people, to put money in place of that, and to involve money is a conflict of interest for them, because that is superseding their Hippocratic oath to help you where they should want to do as humanitarians. They become doctors and nurses or whatever, healthcare professionals, because they want to help those people in need. We should allow them to do so, and we shouldn't put money and a price tag on a person's life. So getting government involved in that at all would allow those people who want to help people at little to no cost, if not free, to be able to do so. What keeps that business in business is them actually helping people. If people die, they would lose business. They would no longer go to them. So that's why we should allow the healthcare to exist as it does. We have malpractice laws in place to do exactly that. If a doctor was to do a surgery on you that ended up in some type of further injury or fatal injury because of those malpractice laws, you then would be able to sue, which you should.